I'm Heather Presley Cowen, and I am with High Performance Government Network, HPG Network, and we are working on the Kosciusko County housing strategy. So in terms of housing, we know that, housing is economic development. We talk about the chicken and the egg, but a downtown that's going to be thriving has to have people in it. And if you want to have people 24/7, which is what a busy, thriving downtown looks like, you're going to need to have housing. And so when we come into communities and we look at what the existing conditions are, here in Kosciusko County, you've got a really relatively strong median income. You've got great property values. You've got you've got great demand for housing. You've got expanding employers. It's really the perfect storm for housing. And so we start with the downtown as the catalyst, and how do we create then waves of activity that go beyond that? And so looking countywide, which is what Kosciusko County and Warsaw and under the foundation's leadership came together to do, we saw lots of great downtowns where we could start, starting with Warsaw, and then certainly other places, Winona Lake, Syracuse, Milford. There are lots of great places in Kosciusko County that are ripe for development. And so we're here to sort of help those catalysts get started. We know that basically we've got employers that want to expand and we need places for people to be. We've got employers who are here that want to bring their employees closer to work, because what we know is if they travel more than 15 minutes drive, we're probably going to not retain them for long. And so coming in and looking at what the conditions are, where sites we can actually look to develop, whether we can own those sites and actually create catalysts is the strategy itself. It's looking at how do we bolster the leadership and its ability to make great decisions around housing for Kosciusko County, Warsaw, and the Foundation to put together a very broad cross-section of community leaders to think through the housing issues and then identify exactly what do we want to see. That was the first phase. Then we moved into a second phase where we got into what I call housing market optimization. Optimization means that we're not just going to build a bunch of housing units because we need more housing. That would be maximizing. But optimizing says we want to build enough. We want to right-size our housing development priorities. So we want to build enough of the right kind of housing based on the people who want to live here. And so we found out through a housing market potential analysis that this county is going to grow if it chooses to build to its own market potential. What's been so exciting about this is that we build a full-scale housing program in a proposal based on a really well-grounded housing strategy, and the states come through in major ways to support it. Now this initiative that we proposed to the state, built on the strategy, also had a people side to it. So we called it Peoplecentric placemaking. We don't just want to build housing units, we want to build really thoughtful units in gorgeous communities, beautiful scenery, but we also want to help people live their best lives. And so people-centric placemaking looked at how do we do the same kind of capital stacking for people that we did on the development side. The state has just come back, and this is hot off the press, but the state has just come back and said, look, we're so excited about what you're doing. We're going to create a special pilot program for Kosciusko County where we're going to try to help people to be able to have these matched savings accounts to be able to buy a home or repair the home that they live in, get job training, get a job, a car to get to work, all these kinds of things that help people to build assets so that we can create more tools for employers who want great workforce housing and a great workforce. Seeing a foundation step up and call the leadership to the table to say we need to address housing was phenomenal. The foundation took a very thoughtful approach. It went out and did listening sessions. It went out into the communities, community by community, held sessions, brought those communities together, listened to them, and then came back out and said, this is what we heard. Housing was at the top of the list. And so that next step of getting into the housing strategy just made complete sense. What I love about the spirit that I saw in this initiative was, just like those listening sessions went right into this housing strategy, while we're in the midst of the housing strategy, Zimmer Biomet comes to the steering committee and says, look, we've been told by the state of Indiana that they're looking for employers to lead housing initiatives, and we want our housing strategy to be part of that. proposal to the state. The state, in turn, awarded $1 million. Zimmer Biomet put up $1 million. And here we are building this major revolving loan fund in Northeast Indiana that's unlike anywhere else in the state. And so what we're doing is developing all of these wonderful tools around housing that aren't seen in communities that have actual housing offices, all because a foundation decided to listen and then come back to the community with some ideas on how it could convened all the community leadership together and then lead into implementation. It's powerful.